Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of Reading Hillary's Emails. This is the third episode so far, so if you're new to this, in the bottom left corner I'll put the link. The first one will be the first episode and the second one will be the second episode. It'll say on the annotation so you don't get confused, but if you're new, this is how it works. I just pick out 10 and I read them. And I don't really give any political opinions or anything like that. I just read the emails straight how they are. So let's get into it. The first email is called 8:10 p.m. From Hillary to Lona Vadamoro. Unclassified, released in part. And then you got the email. Yes, I'll come out and eat with you all. Original message. MS, the crew is asking if you would like dinner soon. I wanted to check with you before they interrupted you in the cabin. Lona Valmoro, Special Assistant to the Secretary of State, direct. From Hillary to Monica. Unclassified, release in part, all that good stuff. Subject, DigiReacher. Confidential, from Hillary to Monica. Unclassified, all that good stuff. FYI. Original message. Hillary, can you give me a telephone number to the Qatar Town Crown Prince? I'm sorry, I messed that up. Hillary, can you give me a telephone number from Qatar Crown Prince can ring you on and he will get in touch. Alternatively, I can get his personal phone number for you. What is best for you? Cherry Blair. I would be happy to meet with him. How should I follow up to arrange a mutually agreeable time? All the best to you. As you know, I have good links to the Qataris. Shiki Mosa's son is the 31/32-year-old Crown Prince, and she is keen that he starts to build a wider international profile. He has been appointed head of the Qatar National Food Security Program, which is designed to deal with Qatar's food security issues. It's a $30 billion program. He is aware that food security is an issue you are majoring on and would love to meet with you in person to discuss this and to explore potential partnership areas between the US and Qatar, including possible participation in the US/World Bank Food Security Fund. He is also keen to talk more generally about US/Qatar cooperation and even suggested they could help out with the oil spill problem. There is apparently an Arab Food Security Summit in 2010 and he would like to discuss US participation in that too. Forgot to capitalize that S. Unclassified. Is a meeting possible? He is more flexible on place and times than his mother. Or maybe we could set up an initial phone call. Can you let me know if this appeals to you at all? Cherry Blair. This message has been scanned by Mail Controller and you got the website right there. The next one's sorry if I mispronounce this. Kyrgyzstan Crisis Report and Recommendations. From Sydney to Hillary. Scott Horton has just returned from a week in Kyrgyzstan, where he held lengthy private conversations with a range of leaders. He has sent me his confidential report. In light of the crisis there, the programs have created perhaps as many as 450,000 450,000 refugees. Yeah, I had it right. I don't know why I thought it was wrong. According to the UN. And on the eve of the June 27th constitutional referendum, he explains why and how this is an important for joint US-Russian action and other US initiatives. His policy recommendations follow his report. I was in Kyrgyzstan from June 1 through 6, during which time I met with almost all of the members of the interim government, with special focus on foreign relations, security, and legal issues. Here are major points that emerged from my visit. crisis in the South. Although I departed before the programs have commenced in Osh, I found that the interim government fully expected violence to break out there, but did not anticipate the inter-ethnic element. Several candidly acknowledged that the government's grip on the South, particularly Osh and the Jalalabad provinces, was extremely tenuous. They said they had severe loyalty problems with key figures in the police and military. When I pressed on what they meant by loyalty, I was told that the Bakiev family had its people in key positions in the police and army, and that they had intercepted communications between Janis Bakiev and a number of key security officers in the South. Something is being planned to disrupt the referendum, I was told. Bekan Nazarov told me that he believed that following the pattern of the last two revolutions. They anticipated there would be an attack on administrative offices in the South. Following quickly within a few days of the attacks on Bishkek, government leaders I spoke with over the weekend told me they now recognized they had misassessed the data they had, and that the Bakiev plan was obviously to instigate inter-ethnic violence. Precisely what led to the tragedy in and around Osh is still unclear and requires careful investigation, but people I've spoke with in Osh describe police and army leaders directing the pogroms, and that they were able to identify some of these individuals as persons close to the Bakievs. Moreover, the timing and some of the specific descriptions of events support this thesis. Bakiev was the only person who had something to gain from the violence. If that is so, then Bakiev adopted an extremely cynical, indeed criminal strategy. His objectives would have been to derail the referendum, demonstrate the weakness of the interim government, and fuel calls for an iron-fisted central government through the resurrection of his presidency. The tactics used bear comparison with those by the Slobodan Milosevic and Radovan Karatul as Yugoslavia integrated, or by the Soviet MVD in the waning days of the Soviet Empire in programs like Operation Koltso. If the government charges bear out, serious crimes were committed by the Bakiev faction. While Otun Bayeva, I think that's how you say it, publicly states that order has not been restored in the South, and that foreign intervention is no longer needed, I am not persuaded that this is what she actually thinks. She is anxious to build public confidence in her government and its abilities. Confidentially, she acknowledges that the interim government's grip over the situation in the South is extremely weak, and that the government does not feel it can necessarily count on the police and military there, whose loyalties are plainly divided. This turn suggests that the international community should give active consideration to both the humanitarian and security dimensions of the situation in the South. My sense remains that Otun Bayeva would strongly welcome such an initiative. Internal workings on the interim government. The interim government verges on being completely dysfunctional. It operates as a collection of individual fiefdoms, with leaders engaged in constant squabbles over patronage appointments. Career civil service personnel report being terrorized and extorted. I spent the better part of 3 days inside the current government headquarters in Staria Plashchad, and was able to directly observe primitive horse trading threats and counter-threats between key government functionaries. Sometimes in agitated voices, Rosa Otunbayeva and a handful of figures closest to her were exceptions in this process, admonishing others about the unseemliness of their conduct, urging moderation and restraint. But Otunbayeva also acknowledges that the limitations of her own authority and states that she has to put up with it. This email is pretty long. I usually don't like to read emails for too long because I don't want to lose your guys' attention. Because I know some of this stuff is kind of boring to most people. So what I like to do is I'll just kind of scroll down really slowly, so you guys could just pause and read it if you really feel like it. And after I scroll down to the bottom, I just go on to the next story. So, I mean, not the next story, the next email. So, let's wait till I get to the bottom of this and move on to the next one. Not saying this stuff isn't important, I'm just saying a lot of people probably won't find it interesting. So, here's the next one. It's called Call List from Hillary to Lauren Gelati. Subject: Call List. PIS, add the following: Paul Chern about Haiti, Mickey and Heidi Cantor, John Cow. Do letter of thanks to Gene Keane, who was the commander in Haiti. Yeah. Most of them are pretty short. FYI, if you don't know, that's for your information. I'm pretty sure even my grandparents know that. Let's discuss original message. There's a website link. Mariv Netanyahu. These Middle Eastern names and foreign names, they kind of throw me off a little bit. Won't meet Clinton. Sources say she isn't irrelevant. And there's another link. Didi Remez, I don't know. Do they honestly think that publicizing a quote like this on record or off works to their advantage? Israeli diplomatic. Clinton isn't irrelevant and is out of the circle of influence. Mitchell has taken over the peace process to a great extent, and Obama, in any event, is the important person in this story because he is the one who decides. And you got these links right here. Netanyahu is to leave next week for Washington, where he will meet with U.S. President Barack Obama. Rather curiously, he is not scheduled to meet with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in the course of his visit to Washington. Contrary to his previous visit in March, this time the U.S. administration intends to create the impression, outwardly at least, that the severe crisis in the relationship has passed and that the relations between the two countries are as strong as ever. In order to bolster that impression, the two leaders will meet the media together and will be photographed. As opposed to the previous time, Netanyahu will also be up at Blair House, the official White House guest house, and not at a hotel. Wait. Oh, I thought it was another paragraph starting for some reason, my bad. That said, officials in Washington are waiting apprehensively for the answers that Netanyahu will provide in the course of the meeting, which is expected to address the transition from the proximity talks that are to impasse to direct negotiations. Obama apparently will demand that Netanyahu agree to extend the construction freeze in Judea and Samaria beyond the September 26th expiration date in the hope of securing PA Chairman Abu Mazen's consent to begin direct talks with Israel. For the time being, the Forum of Seven is divided over this issue. And there's another link. This one's called Assessing Our Progress to Date and Proposing Possible Ways to Create More Leverage, from Hillary to Lauren. Please print original message. For your reading pleasure on the way home, SP has been working on a project that I discussed with Jake a while back, aimed at figuring out where we could do better, and above all, create more leverage to achieve our goals. The papers are blunter than anything you would see from the bureaus. They should not necessarily be read as policy blueprints, but rather as illustrations of alternative strategies. We have made sure that the special assistants have them on the plane. I will also share the individual papers with the relevant assistant secretaries. We will then be happy to take the project further if you approve. You will be happy to know that the rain has stopped at the Expo AM. Schedule from Hillary to Lauren. Please print go down. Please reach out to Dianne Feinstein for a dinner, which would be very hard for me in July, but I have to be back in a few days in early August. Might work then, just so she knows we are trying. Also want to see Jack Keane for a drink. FM Liberman wants to see me in July, let's discuss. Also, Zabari of Iraq in the US in July, please find out when he is coming. Have you heard from Carlos Slim about the date for MTG? Don't forget the Skull MTG Arctic Council in Greenland. This is pretty much just her schedule for a while that she wants somebody to print out. Says some stuff about Latin America, tigers. Putin loves some tigers. Probably rides them without a shirt on like he rides his horses. Okay, next email is called Rolling Stone from Hillary to Jake Sully. Can you call me through ops? Oh darn it. Sorry, I missed your message. I was engrossed in the PSD script. If you're still up, please call. Can you talk now? Talk to Ben, much to report. So this is the last email, doesn't look too juicy. It's called Notes Format from Hillary to Robert. Please come see me tomorrow about redesigning and updating the format. Thanks. Oh, well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, dislike if you didn't like the video. Leave constructive criticism on what I could do better. Just don't go blindly hating, calling me profanities, because I really don't appreciate that and you'll get deleted. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a weenie, I just don't want YouTube deleting my videos because I'm gonna get some stupid hate on it because of their dumb new anti-First Amendment policies. But, well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Went on a little bit of a rant there. Well, have a good day.